And a pharmacy in Virginia gave the wrong vaccine formula to over 100 kids aged 5 to 11. They used the vaccine intended for individuals aged 12 and up. The state has since removed the pharmacy from its vaccination program. NTD's Allison Lee has more.
The Loudoun County Health Department confirmed that the TED Pharmacy in Aldie, Virginia, last week vaccinated around 112 kids aged 5 to 11 using a reduced amount of the adult vaccine instead of the pediatric vaccine. The only vaccine authorized for children aged 5 to 11 is a special formulation that contains a 10 microgram dose, while the formula for individuals 12 and up contains a 30 microgram dose. Loudoun County Health Department Director Dr. David Goodfriend says the TED Pharmacy attempted to provide a proper dose by administering about a third of the dose for individuals 12 and up. He told the Washington Post the pharmacy was not authorized to do this, and when the volume of vaccine is reduced, it is difficult to ensure that the dosage is correct. A parent who vaccinated her daughter at this pharmacy told a local news outlet that workers at the pharmacy diluted the dose for people 12 and up. The health department director wrote in a letter this week that the pharmacy has been removed from both state and federal COVID-19 vaccination programs, and that the pharmacy has also transferred possession of all remaining COVID-19 vaccine inventory in the local health department. The health department is recommending that parents whose kids got the vaccine at the pharmacy on November 3rd and 4th review the CDC guidance and contact their healthcare provider to determine when to continue the vaccination process. Allison Lee, NTD News.
More than 2 million at-home COVID-19 tests are getting recalled due to a high rate of false positive results. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration says it's a Class 1 recall, the most urgent type. The tests come from the brand AtHome. Regulators say false positives could lead to a delayed diagnosis or treatment of the actual cause of a person's illness. There have been 35 reports of false positives. No deaths have been reported. The FDA says the reliability of negative test results is not affected. The faulty tests were manufactured between February 24th and August 11th and were distributed from April 13th to August 26th. Those who have received a positive result with an AtHome test are advised to have a follow-up test. The Biden administration awarded nearly $232 million to AtHome in February to produce its at-home tests. And this fall, the administration announced billions more dollars in funding to help make more tests available. And now we look into the debate surrounding the different types of protection from the virus, specifically natural immunity versus the vaccine. The CDC supports a policy that puts people with natural immunity at a disadvantage in society. But does the health agency have data to support this? NTD's Kevin Hogan brings us more on a FOIA request that may shed some light on this question.
Attorney Aaron Series' firm submitted the FOIA request on behalf of the Informed Consent Action Network. They sought the following information from the CDC. Any documented case of someone who is not vaccinated, contracted COVID, recovered, contracted COVID again, and then spread it to another person. Essentially data on the effectiveness of natural immunity. The CDC's response was that this information is not collected. Siri questions how the CDC can support a policy limiting the freedoms of people with natural immunity without having collected this data.
They seem to have the ability to track all the data that they want when it supports their policy objectives. And I would submit that it's the burden of the government to support that a policy that would impinge, dare say crush, the individual and civil rights of people across the United States. The burden is on the government to show the data to support that policy.
NTD asked the CDC why it doesn't collect this type of data. The agency hasn't responded by airtime. The law firm said to the CDC, please provide evidence that supports the policy or lift the restrictions.
Because if they can't show that, then they are basically saying all of those folks should be fired from their jobs, kicked out of school, separated from the military, even though we don't have any proof. We don't have proof that any one of those people has ever become reinfected and transmitted the coronavirus. That's incredible.
A CDC study in August found that people who contracted COVID and then took the vaccine were twice as protected than those who contracted COVID but didn't get the vaccine. Kevin Hogan, NTD News.
And now to San Francisco, where we hear some of the stories of those grappling with the world and its changes as it emerges from the pandemic. First responders, medical professionals, teachers, and people from all walks of life came out to have their say. We hear more from NTD's Cynthia Kai.
Hundreds of people have gathered here at the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco to protest vaccine mandates. This is one of many protests happening across the country as part of the national-wide walkout. California recently adopted vaccine mandates for children aged 5 to 11, in addition to existing vaccine mandates for select jobs and statewide mask mandates. Elected officials say vaccine mandates are meant to reduce transmission and boost immunity.
Vaccine mandates for COVID shots are illegal. There's still only 3 emergency use authorization shots on the market. The 4th one, called Comirnaty, is not fully approved and it's not on the market. The reason it's not on the market is because BioNTech has full liability for injuries, disabilities, and deaths, and they are scared to put that on the market because they will have to pay so much money they could go out of business. So what they're going to do is, when the shot is fully approved for children, they're going to put it on the children's schedule, and that gives the manufacturers full liability protection no matter who it's injected into, children or adults. So they're going to be using our children as pawns to protect themselves from liability.
People attending the protest say they disagree with the government's mandates.
I'm seeing a lot of my friends and family being forced to vaccinate to work for jobs and being put in a corner. And they say that you have other options, but then your options are few and far between and you're losing your job anyway. So that's the big reason why I came.
Some say the mandates violate their freedom of choice.
The more mandates that come down the line, eventually those people that think it's right now will find something that they don't believe in, that they don't want to do. And possibly by that time, it'll be too late because all of us have just kind of gone with the flow and did what our leaders told us to do.
And I have a 7-year-old son, and they're trying to force him to get a vaccine, and I don't believe in that. This is America, not Russia or communist China. And if we don't stand up, we're going to be the frog in the pot of water boiling and wondering how we ended up as a communist country.
Other people expressed that the mandates go against their religious beliefs.
What I've discovered is that there's something called natural law, which is above any jurisdiction of any government, and it's even above, the republic, and it started, centuries ago. We have innate God-given rights, and so we only answer to God. We don't answer to a government. Government is lower in jurisdiction.
Event organizers estimated around 500 people were present at the Golden Gate Bridge. However, they said more people were unable to enter due to unexpected road closures.
They wanted to make this look like a tiny event that did not have the support of the blue-collar and white-collar workers. And so they systematically started closing the exits off the Golden Gate Bridge. As crunch time occurred here, they closed all of the bathrooms.
NTD reporters covering the event encountered heavy traffic and road closures near the bridge. Police barred media entry from certain areas. More protests are expected later this month throughout the state and other states, including Michigan and Arizona. Cynthia Kai, NTD News, California.